Welcome to the Tom Bernard Podcast with the family and, of course,
co-host Catherine Brandt.
Andy Brandt Bernard.
Oh, we can't hear you.
And muted Kristen Burt.
And Kristen Burt.
Okay, let's do it again.
We don't need to do it again.
We need to sound professional.
It's
I know
called Wabi.
hard.
It's called Wabi Sabi.
What do you mean wabi sabi?
It's flaws that give something character.
I'm bringing character to the show.
Exactly.
Boy, we got major problems if you're bringing character to the show. That's all I have to say.
Too much character.
And by the way, thank you to everyone that's sending the messages on X and all the rest of it about how you listen to the show every day now. And I really do appreciate that. Show's getting a bigger and bigger audience by the day, which we love. Kristen Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. What's the latest?
What is the latest? Well, everyone seems to be up in arms that I don't know if you've been hearing the news, but two reality stars, Julie and Todd Chrisley, were pardoned by Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Those creepy looking people.
For what? What did they do again?
Tax fraud, I think.
Yeah, it was tax fraud.
Tax fraud.
Yeah, it was bank fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy to defraud banks. So Todd had received a 12-year federal prison sentence, and Julie had a 7-year federal prison sentence. They've been in prison, I believe, since 2022. They are both out as of this morning. And guess what? Lifetime already has the cameras up and running. So this will all be captured for another upcoming reality show.
Why would he forgive them?
Savannah, their daughter Savannah, has been campaigning for Donald Trump for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And she has also been campaigning to get her parents pardoned, and she was able to do that.
But I don't understand, how can he pardon somebody just because somebody wants to vote for him?
Technically, a president can pardon anyone they want for any reason. They don't have to justify it.
Look at all the pardons that Biden did.
Yeah, the pardon system has been very
very
abused in the past, 10, 12 something years.
Yeah. And my question too on the pardoning system, I feel like pardons used to just happen either at the end of the year or at the end of their term, and now all of a sudden they're just happening.
Yep. See, if I'm going to give Donald Trump way too much credit, my theory is this. So they were put away largely because they defrauded the government out of money.
Right.
So we pardon them. They get out of prison. They get their own reality show, which generates a ton of money, which generates more taxes than they stole.
Well, I kind of
everybody
agree.
wins.
To me, it's tax evasion. Yes, everybody should not be doing that. We should all be paying our taxes.
That would be nice.
But I don't agree with people going to jail for sure for tax evasion, because there's a lot of crimes that are really horrendous and violent and nobody gets any time. I feel like tax evaders should be.
They should just pay it back.
They should have to be indebted.
Plus interest.
Plus huge fines, like lose everything you've got and have to start all over again. That's a bigger punishment. And it doesn't cost the taxpayers a bunch of money to house you for however many years. I mean, if it's a nonviolent crime, I think there should be better ways of dealing with it.
And they've denied all the charges ever since. They blamed it on their business financial manager. So it can happen. And but they did blame it all on them. But he also, I believe, served some time too. So all three of them went down. However, I will also say I wouldn't be surprised to see one or both of them on Dancing with the Stars in the fall, because Dancing with the Stars loves a criminal. So they will probably be dancing in the ballroom. And if it's anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Todd Chrisley. He is a very colorful character. And the whole family's been controversial way before these federal charges. So we will let that. I have a feeling ABC will not want to miss out on that opportunity.
Wow.
I just don't understand how you can just go ahead because you're the president and pardon anybody you wish to pardon. That makes no sense to me.
Well, they're the president.
Well, yeah, I just feel like politicians overall, we're just saying that whole category, there's an abuse of power going on left and right.
No.
And it's not really fun to watch when you're not someone who, just as a regular citizen, it's not fun to watch all these abuses of power. I guess that's
it isn't.
Oh, there's no question about that. Have you ever had that happen to you, where there's abuse of power against you?
Yes.
I have too.
Well, and I will tell you, my family just went through it. My family just went through it with that the probate case and everything else. Someone abused their power in a moment, in someone else's weak moment, and it took a lot of money to get back what was our family's property.
Right.
Why are they allowing this? If you break the law, you should go to jail or at least get fined.
I really feel like that, like most judges and the government just doesn't really care about white collar crime.
No, they don't.
They just don't.
I agree.
I mean, it's just, there's not enough protections against it.
And, you know, you just, even in our case, in this thing where you're like, well, this is criminal to be doing this. Ours was obviously a civil matter. And then I talked to my lawyers like, well, what about the criminal side of this? They're like, that's a whole separate case. It's a whole separate set of lawyers. It's a whole separate issue.
Yeah.
And you have to like pick and choose your battles of where you want to fight this.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. I guess it all makes sense, but I just don't understand. That's one thing I will tell you about our system with AI and all the rest of it. You can find out things you would have never known before. Like I just found out by coincidence this morning, we're talking about this kind of thing, that I gave some money to a charity a couple of years ago. And the person who asked me if I would contribute deposited a third of it into his account. Is that unbelievable? I would have never known that back in the old days, but AI reveals that kind of thing now if you look in the right place. It's just people and money. I've never understood the lust for money. If you have any talent, you can make a lot of money. And if you don't have any talent, you're not going to make a lot of money.
You can just work hard too.
Work hard too, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't want to, most people don't have a lot of talent anymore, and most people don't want to work. So they steal your money.
Well, that's
God.
That's their own skill set. Stealing money is,
oh, it is.
To me,
and if you're a good scammer, you'll make a lot of money.
You can make a ton of money.
Isn't that just say, how can you sleep at night knowing you scammed people out of money?
They think that they're smart.
They don't care. I'm 100% after going through all of this. I 100% believe that they do not care. And I am someone literally, if I borrow $1 from you, and I'm talking like one single dollar, I will pay you back. I don't feel good about owing people money at all. So
do you have to admit to yourself you have no intelligence or talent, so you have to be a thief?
They think that is an intelligent
No, it's not. It's piggish dog shit is what it is.
Like I said, everything's perspective.
I guess, but it's against the law. That's the other part of it. How about not breaking the law?
I don't care about that either, do
they? They don't care about that because the law doesn't catch up with them sometimes.
A lot of times, yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
A lot of people are just like, let it go. They don't want to do the battle. They don't want to fight.
This is one of those situations where all these people, they were big fans of yours and they had loved your show and they supported you the whole time. And they really need some help. I mean, it wasn't a ton of money, but it was a fair amount of dough. Find out the guy takes a third of it and puts it in his bank account.
That's awful.
Administration costs.
Yeah,
the administration fees on charities are ridiculous too. That's another one. When you donate money, be careful.
Been very interesting.
Can you help people out anymore? Can you donate anymore without getting screwed over by one of the parties? I don't know if you can anymore.
Well, I think that if you have a charity that, has transparency, like how much the directors make. I mean, we've been seeing, I mean, just in the last year with this whole Doge thing, that some of these people that were running stuff for the government, they were making 700,000 plus.
I know.
And it wasn't even their full-time job.
Yeah, I know. My friend of mine runs a charity called the Thirst Project, building wells, clean water for people around the globe. And they were able to, which I think is great, they were able to get a company, and I believe it's Follett, it just makes textbooks and things like that, to sponsor their administrative fees. So every single time they have like a fundraiser or anything else, it goes directly toward building wells and providing fresh water. So you already know that the administration fees, all the behind the scenes stuff is already taken care of.
Yeah.
You know what's so sad about that? It's going to take away that part of life too, where it was an honor to help people. But now it's not even an honor anymore because somebody's going to steal part of it.
Well, we've just gone from a high trust society to, I mean, the world, the internet changed everything for scammers. Scammers are from
Yeah, that's
all
true.
over the globe,
is
and
true.
you can't find them, and you don't know who they are, and it's just a big mess.
You get text messages that are like, click this link. And you're like, no, I will not click this
Yeah.
link. You want to steal all my info.
Yeah.
They sure do.
Boy, they do want your info at every turn. They want all of your info.
I locked my credit accounts
Good.
about 10 years ago. So I have a freeze on all of my
Wow.
credit. It can only be accessed if I'm going to purchase something, because I was like, I'm tired of this. You know, your data was leaked. Your data was leaked. You
I
get
know.
these every other month, I feel like.
Yes,
Yep.
that's true.
I just wish, honest to God, I look back at St. Joe's, a nice little Catholic boy in 3rd grade. You never heard about this kind of stuff going
Oh,
on.
I'm sure people were scamming. You
They
just
probably
didn't have the
were.
internet to expose it.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
probably
yeah,
true.
absolutely.
It's just so sad. How do you look in the mirror at night, brushing your teeth, and go, God, I'm a piece of shit?
They're not even worried about it. They're not thinking about you
They're
at all.
not thinking about it at all. I had a friend who was a flight attendant back in the day when when you would buy like alcoholic drinks, you could pay cash. You know, now it is you have to use a card. And
Yep.
but the flight attendants used to skim off the top with
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when there was cash and there was no accounting system per se, they were like, we're not paid enough. So what if, you know, American Airlines loses $20?
That's the way they look at it. They got enough
Mhm.
money.
It is
Well,
the way
it's
they look
not
at
your money. I don't care if they've got enough money. It's not your money, so you don't get to take it.
Well,
Well, and if you get caught, you're going to lose your job too.
yeah.
So
aren't
I hope they do.
some Starbucks employees, they're actually picketing because they don't want to have to wear certain clothing?
well,
Yeah, there's a
I-
specific Starbucks union that represents a handful of stores, and
Oh.
yeah,
here's
they're
my
doing-
thought though on this, because when I've worked at places where I've had a uniform, like I worked at a movie theater as a teen, I worked at KFC. We were provided a uniform, and it is one of those things where they have to buy, and they're not given any money to buy their
Right.
uniform.
Right.
That's my question. So why isn't Starbucks saying like, this is the uniform, we're giving you $50 toward the uniform, or here it is, and you have to turn it in once you quit?
Well, probably because the turnover in employees is probably so high that
Yeah, that's
you
the
know,
thing.
if you have 15 employees that are quitting every month and
Yeah.
you've given them uniforms, it ends up costing.
That is true.
But I thought as an employee, you're supposed to be provided your equipment, whether it's your laptop, if your
Right,
wardrobe. I'm going to go. I think it's certain, at least in California, I don't know if that would hold up under state law
I don't know either.
if they were challenged on it.
Well, and if that was their point, then they are not communicating that very well.
Well, or
Like
how
they're
about
saying they're implementing a restrictive new dress code. Customers don't care what color our clothes are. It's like that's not really the point, is it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
If it's
That's
about
not really
having
the
to
point.
buy your own shirts, then say that. Don't act like you're being put in prison because you have to wear a black shirt.
Well, yeah,
I
and
think
if they give you a color palette, like you can wear khaki, black, green, and white,
you
or
wear-
whatever.
You have to wear a
That's fine.
solid black shirt and khaki, black, or blue denim bottoms.
and they're bitching about that?
Yes,
Oh, well, that seems a little.
little much.
I don't think I've ever had a job where I had to wear a uniform.
KFC, did you have to have that bright red polyester horrid thing?
No, it was khaki pants. It was when I was there, it was khaki pants and it was a white shirt and a name tag. That was
had
it.
Red
White-
polyester that never washed the stink of the chicken out ever, no matter how much my mother soaked it.
Boo.
I don't know. I don't know about a white shirt when your job is to carry greasy chicken all day.
Well,
I was a
it
cashier, so I
I was
wasn't.
a cashier too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
I
suppose.
didn't have to carry.
Line cooks were in grease all day, though. That was
Yeah, you'd have to
That
wear
was a
like
lot.
I don't know, latex clothing.
I do remember at the end of our shift, we had to use a vinegar solution to clean out something called a Crescore, which is like a giant warming oven.
Oh yeah,
Crescore.
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 I think that's
I
what
re-
it's called.
I made biscuits every morning because I did the early shift.
Oh yeah,
I
Cresco. Oh,
remember
yeah,
making
I've
the little
seen-
biscuits.
Yeah,
I've seen those
I love the
Cresco ovens.
biscuits.
Like they have
Yeah.
shelves.
Yeah.
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 They have them in every restaurant
Yep,
ever. Mhm.
Crescore. Mhm.
I didn't like the coleslaw you made in like a trash bag, like not a
No.
trash bag, a trash can, because they just needed to make it a mass amount.
Big
just-
container, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just like dumping in the dressing, dumping in the
Yeah, that's-
the
I don't know.
Cabbage.
They
feels-
do at restaurants.
and it's like it's theoretically no different than making it small batch, but it's just feels gross when you do that.
It feels really gross. And because
why.
it's so big and wide, I feel like just particles from the air can fall in. I don't know.
True, yeah.
I've
it's
never
too
eaten at KFC again. I'll be honest about that.
Me neither.
I haven't in years.
I don't even, it's been at least 10 years. When they got rid of popcorn chicken, when was that?
Oh God, I don't remember.
80s, late 80s, maybe 90s.
Not that long ago.
All right, we have to take a break. Be right back in a couple minutes more with Kristen Burt right after this. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands free, but you can't have your phone in your hand for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
You are listening. You're listening to me. Your customers are listening to me. And they'll hear me promote your business, along with the family, of course. The Tom Bernard Podcast attracts thousands of listeners who are loyal, engaged, and ready to support businesses they trust. Our podcast has helped numerous businesses increase traffic, sales, and brand recognition. We're not just about ads. We're about results, the most important part. Whether you're a local business or a national brand, we offer custom advertising packages designed to fit your unique needs and goals. Our audience spans multiple demographics, allowing you to target your ideal customers with precision, from millennials to baby boomers and everyone in between. With the broad reach of the show and passionate following, your business will see increased visibility and awareness, translating into more customers and sales. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So what else?
I just want to mention this because I know every once in a while your listeners ask for like streaming deals, and Peacock has a really good streaming deal right now that honestly I'd be running and signing up. I already have my subscription, but if I did not have one, this is your opportunity. They are offering a 1-year deal, $25. It's $24.99 for premium. That means ad free. So run and get it while you can.
Why don't they ever give deals to people that are current subscribers like that?
Do you want your workaround on that?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I do.
Here's your workaround. Nobody heard this from me. Cancel your current subscription. Sign up for this deal under a different email.
You're so smart. But if you're on like isn't it like auto renew, and so you've got a whole year until it expires?
It depends on what type of deal. I have a month to month on mine.
Oh,
because I think I'm 99 cents right now on Peacock. So
wow,
yeah, I know it's a good deal.
It is.
So I think I got a Black Friday deal on that one. But I would just say if you are someone who is not on an auto renew and just month to month, cancel it right now and then get on that $24.99 for the year.
Yeah, because we usually sign up for the whole year because it's cheaper per month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wind up doing the month to month because the Black Friday deals are so cheap. Yeah.
See, once again, short-sighted. You would think that they would want the auto new subscribers that have, been loyal to them and give them a deal once in a while.
And now that I've blabbed all of this publicly, they're probably right now changing all the terms.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. No question.
I've ruined it all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done that. You've always been in charge of that kind of deal.
Oh my God, you can't be in charge of anything with passwords or.
I hate it so much.
No.
So many passwords too. That's the problem because you need a password for this. And then they're like, oh, it's been 90 days to change your password. Change it again. I'm like, I don't want to change it again.
No. What I really like, so when we go from Florida up to Minnesota, it knows that you've changed locations, or if you stay in a hotel somewhere and you want to log on to your account. And now they have that QR code that you can just scan, which makes life so much easier.
Yeah, that does make it easier, doesn't it?
Although then you have to remember to log out.
I suppose that is true.
Because we didn't log out one time, and a family was on our Disney thing for a long time before I realized what was going on.
Oh, the people who moved into the house?
The people that were next in line at the hotel. They
Oh, at the hotel. That's
Yeah.
what it was,
If you're at a hotel or Airbnb, your name
you've
will
got
be
to
up there. And then if you notice your algorithm changing and you're like, wait a minute, why is it all Marvel all of a sudden?
Yeah, you have
I'm
to
like, who
remember
are
that.
these people? And they were stupid enough. They did like their profile little, icons and stuff and named them. I mean, they
Huh.
were pretty blatant about it.
That's hilarious, actually. They're pretty ballsy.
Yeah, I thought it was like a built-in Airbnb thing or a hotel thing so that they could like use it for free. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, I'd ask Andy for a favor. Would you look up and see when the movie with Marlon Brando, The Wild One, came out? Because I cannot believe it came out when it did. Because was a few years ago, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Well,
A few years ago.
Brando's been dead for.
Well, you had just turned 2 years old, so yeah.
It was 1953.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, Kristen, can you believe that's almost 73 years ago?
No, because I still think that. Oh, I put something up on my Instagram. Let me find it because it was making me laugh because this is kind of exactly what you're talking about. I'm gonna have to put on my glasses because I'm not gonna be able to read it because it's small
Okay.
type. Okay, hold on. So someone put on Threads. They said saw a video on Instagram. My glasses are crooked. Okay, that pointed out that Dirty Dancing came out in 1987 and was set in 1963. So if it was remade now in 2025, then it would be set in 2001.
Yep.
And that person said, now I need to lie down in a dark room for a while.
That's exactly it.
I think about that sometimes. Like, Ethan's getting into stuff that I like, which means he likes to play video games.
Mhm.
Yeah,
like-
that's true.
He only plays a little bit at a time. But like yesterday, I was putting Colin down for a nap because Melissa was at work. And I'm like, okay, Ethan, you can play Yoshi for a little bit. But he's learned how to get to the menu and like get to other games. And you can't stop him.
No.
So what he did is he opened up the Game Boy Advance, like virtual console, and he was playing Wario Land 4. And that came out in 2001. So relative to him, that would be like me playing something from the late 60s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and I
true.
think about that sometimes. I'm like, because to me, Wario Land 4, it's like, it's not that old. It's it's not new, but it's a, newish game. But no, 20 years is
No.
actually a very, very long time.
Oh, in a very, very short
Crazy.
time.
And
Right.
well, yeah, that's true. Also a very
just-
short time because
just-
I've been an adult for 20 years.
Well, just think by the time your kids are old enough to drive, Tesla I think this week is launching the Cyber Cab in Austin,
Cyber cab.
Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing. It's happening. They're driving all over
In-
Austin right now.
Yeah, in Austin, but I don't know. Imagine that in like
Austin.
a blizzard, like a
No,
Minneapolis
they can't. They
blizzard.
can't have that stuff
No.
in the northern climates. I don't
Not
think.
for a very.
We've got
very-
Waymo, which is self-driving.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, it is happening, and I think next month or the month after, when you order a Tesla, it will drive to your house and deliver itself to you.
That's
I
I mean,
don't
so-
like that.
But imagine what it's going to be like when your kids are driving. By the time
I
they're
know.
driving, we might not have to drive.
That's
you
true.
might
I would-
just
Love that.
I know.
If I could get rid of my car and never have to drive again, I'm all for it.
I think
Really?
I
But-
hate to drive.
the question especially in LA is a
Oh,
nightmare to drive
It's a
in.
nightmare.
Yeah.
You have to be aware constantly of what's happening in front, to the side, behind you is awful.
They're all-
Right,
yeah, so many
right.
psychopaths out there. But my question is, so you're in your nice little Tesla and it's doing its job and it's doing the speed limit. What prevents all the other crazy people still from running into you? I mean, they really
Nothing.
don't. I
Well,
mean,
nothing. I mean, if they get run into,
Doesn't.
they get run into. Yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't prevent tech glitches, which we've seen in Waymo, we've seen in Teslas. It does happen.
It does.
Where-
Yeah, and the more complex the system, the more likely something is to go wrong.
But there are a bunch of statistics out there that show how many of these are on the road and how many have. I mean, the accident rate for an auto car is way less than humans.
I'm not
Because
surprised.
people aren't on the
Way
phone.
less.
They're not on the phone.
Yeah.
No, that'll be the next thing. Is AI sophisticated enough to get bored and then start scrolling while it's driving?
Well,
They'll be on TikTok. They'll be making TikTok dances while they're
yeah,
driving.
and I guess the driverless cabs, the Tesla anyway, I don't know about Waymo. If somebody goes in and abuses the car in any way, shape, or form, or throws up in it, or throws
Ooh.
trash or whatever, they're just deleted. They can't use it anymore.
There's deleted
They're
it.
just
Yeah,
they're
you're-
blocked.
You're not
forever.
allowed in the
No,
system
they
any
never.
longer.
Yeah, they never get back on. So that'll
Waymo's the
actually be
same
nice.
thing.
I like
right?
to think of like a Futurama bit instead. They're deleted. The car locks itself and floods itself with acid.
That's
You
real
have been
nice.
deleted.
Did you all see the I think it was Axios who did the interview with an AI CEO, and he's like, the unemployment rate within the next 1 to 5 years will be 20%. I think you talked to Britt about that, didn't you, Catherine?
Sorry, I'm
There's-
trying to.
Yeah, I know, but
People are
we're gonna
coming
be
in.
having
okay.
we're gonna be having a break in a couple minutes. So
Maybe 2
Yeah.
minutes. Thank you. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so he just said that the unemployment rate will be like 1 to 20%. I mean, in 1 to 5 years, it'll be 20% the unemployment rate, and that AI is coming straight for the entry level white collar jobs
Yep.
right now.
Yep.
All right, we're going to have a contest, and you can't look it up and cheat because we're going to go back to that movie that came out 73 years ago.
Oh, you're back to the wild
But they used a
Bunch.
word, the wild one.
one.
It was about the first movie about motorcycle gangs. It was the very first movie made about
Oh.
motorcycle gangs. And Mary Murphy. What, Kristen, you know Mary Murphy, the actress?
No, I know Mary Murphy, the judge from So You Think You Can Dance.
Oh, okay. Well, Mary Murphy was the love interest kind of in that movie, The Wild One. Beautiful woman, very talented. What the hell? Why didn't she have a bigger career?
Maybe
I mean,
she got
wor-
married.
She worked from 1951 to 1974. So I
Oh,
mean,
that's a long career.
it's a 23-year long career, and by 1974, she was only 43 and 74.
I know,
so-
that's what I'm saying.
She,
Why
Well,
didn't
she was
women-
she probably was like, I don't know, I don't need to work anymore.
Well, a lot of women disappear in their 40s.
Yeah, I was going to say a
That's
lot of
true.
women, especially in that era. Like now you can work over 50 or over 60, but at 40, you were ancient at
Yeah.
that time.
But it's also like, I don't know, why work if you don't have to?
I suppose.
That's
Okay.
my son.
Without hopping on the internet, what was the word they used throughout the entire movie, The Wild One, with Lee Marvin, Marlon Brando, Mary Murphy were all in it? What was the word they used to steal something? Instead of I'm going to steal that, what did they say? And don't look it up and cheat.
Snatch?
Jack,
Snack, jack,
Heist.
and heist.
Well, heist is like a special kind of
I
stealing.
don't know.
You
I'm
know what
just
it is
throwing
actually?
out
And
there.
it made me laugh hearing it.
No.
Marlon Brando's like, well, you can hold on as long as you want to, but I'm going to gleep it anyway.
Gleep?
Gleep. To gleep something was to steal it.
oh,
Every
Gleep a
generation.
monkey.
Gleep is a motorcycle gang culture
Oh, it is really.
word. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Huh.
You're going to have it, but I'll gleep it.
I have a feeling it hasn't been used for quite a while.
okay.
I only know
before
Gleep the monkey from Wonder Twins.
Yeah, you could gleep a monkey.
I am going to have
Oh, yeah.
free drinks for like a week at a time, but it's going to have to be on your Facebook
I
page.
like how you phrase that. I am going to have free drinks for a week.
For a week. You're going to
From
freeze it up.
So-
Skalven.
Yes, we had Tyson on yesterday.
Tyson's just a great
He gave
guy.
us a bunch of
Great
cards,
guy.
one free drink at Skalven.
It expires on January 1st, 2026.
So we got a while.
The
How are we giving them
brewery-
out?
The brewery is in Brooklyn
Park.
Park,
Mhm.
and these get paid forward. So when you use it, they give it to somebody else, and they're like a metal card.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're nice. They're really nice. So we're going to do that on the Facebook page. We'll come up with some sort of a way to do it. I
Oh,
guess we
we
could just
will
mail
we?
them to him.
Tyson's what, 42?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he was
Something
42.
like that.
We need to support his business. He's
Mhm.
waiting for his double lung transplant.
Double
Yeah,
lung
sure
we need
is.
to
transplant.
support his business.
And Kristen, he's 6'4", so the only lungs he can use is from another body that was 6'4".
Oh,
Yeah,
there's maybe 6'2".
I mean, there's some leeway, but he couldn't take lungs for someone who's like 5'2". For
No.
example.
You couldn't take my lungs.
No,
Not
they
take
just
your lungs.
wouldn't
That's
be
right.
big enough. Yeah.
Your little baby lungs.
My little tiny lungs.
Your baby. Somebody gleep your lungs. That's what
So
happened.
yeah, we haven't really decided how we're going to give those away. I mean, we're going to be at the
We'll come
state
up with
fair in
something.
August.
No, I want to do it on the Facebook page.
Okay.
We can get that done.
We can do it. We can come up with something. We're smart people.
Kristen has to go. She has 8,000 other jobs where
Yes,
she
and we
steals
have,
money from people. I
we
mean,
have a
gleeps
guest.
money from people.
And she won't be on tomorrow.
They won't.
Oh, you're not going to be out again?
Well, here's the good news.
You're a disaster.
The bad news is that I won't be here. The good news is that I'm attending Netflix To Dumb, which is their big release of all of their shows, and that is tomorrow and Saturday. So I will have lots of exciting news on Monday. So I'm kind of excited that I'm able to attend it this year.
Yay.
My first time.
Nice.
We will talk to you on Monday.
See you then. Have a great weekend, everyone.
You
too.
too. Kristen Berg
Bye.
Entertainment
Bye.
News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC equal housing lender. We'll take a break coming up. These were my favorite segments for a long, long time. We got a segment coming up next where an actual Republican and an actual Democrat are friends and can talk to each other without stabbing each other in the
Oh
back.
God, do I have to get a hose so I can, in case they start fighting?
They're not going to fight. They've been friends forever.
Good.
We will
Glad
be
to hear
right back with the fellas, Pat and Ryan.
All
Is
right.
Ryan here yet?
I cannot tell. I don't think someone's here, but I don't know who.
We'll figure it out. We'll be right back. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Brian Thiel, president of Abrasives of St. Paul.
What I like best about North American Banking Company is the small town feel with great products and very good service. And I love the people. I would definitely recommend North American to other business owners. A lot of banks I could choose from, and North American Banking Company is the one.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. That's nabanco.com, or stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. For Brad, John Bryant, Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it? They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing. And people are like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, just getting everything set.
Pat's name is Mark now.
Oh, Pat, yeah, Pat's name is Mark.
There we go.
But other than that, there, now it's Pat.
Fixed. I've got a lot to do in the past 10 seconds.
We are going to have a discussion today. There's a very specific reason. Well, we have to wait until Ryan gets here to have the discussion, I guess. But we can talk about what's been going on in Pat's life, because you kind of stepped aside, did you not?
I did. Well, first of all, Thomas, good to see you again.
It's nice to see you. You guys used to come in all the time when you were both serving the state of Minnesota, and
Back when we were movers and shakers.
and shakers, and it just. But I mean, there was a very specific. Well, first of all, I wanted to see you guys again anyway, and you're always welcome anytime because they were always. Yeah, you can turn it down. There's a button. There's a little.
On the right.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, there you
He's
go.
got it covered, no question. In your experience, working in state government and all the rest of it, did you find that Democrats were always late to the shows? I had to take a shot at him right out of the
I feel-
Well, they didn't show up for 3 months this year. So
Oh,
very
nice.
well.
Well
Right.
played. You know
There you
that I'm disappointed that I didn't come up with that line first. But no, I actually I texted my friend on the way here, and I think there was just a mix up on timing and location. But
That's no big deal.
he's on the way. Yeah, it's cool.
He's been here 8 billion times. How do you not know where it
8
is?
billion?
No.
I don't know
I
about
think it was just timing and
Oh,
dates
the
and
timing thing,
confirmation.
yeah.
So I didn't. So he'll be here in a little bit. But no, I used to always joke that if when Democrats showed up late for committee hearings, I'd ask if they had a punctuality disorder.
Did they enjoy that?
No, they did not.
They did not enjoy that.
As funny as I thought I was in the legislature, they thought I was less funny.
It was wonderful, meeting you guys. Now, how many years ago was that? That's a long time ago now.
Oh, geez.
When I met you guys.
It was. I remember it was COVID. It was 2020.
Oh, so there you go.
That was going on because that's just about when I had figured out that I got duped
Really?
during COVID. Yeah, because when the background in this is that I used to work at a large multinational corporation based in the Twin Cities that
well, there are a few of them.
might have had some experience with medical devices and personal protective equipment.
All right.
And so I had the fortune of seeing COVID coming because of the close interactions with China. And like, this is
right.
So I was all on the, hey, listen, this is a big deal. We got to get, what was it, 2 weeks to slow the spread.
Yeah.
I was one of those people who's like, hey, listen, you look at these numbers, this is scary.
Mhm.
Let's see what we're dealing with here. Right. And so when people came out and said that, I was all on board. And then it was pretty clear sometime after that my good intentions and goodwill were used as a weapon by those who wield the powers of government.
There's a shock.
To this day, I'm still pretty bitter about it because I coming from a family that has lineage on West 7th Street in St. Paul.
Yeah.
I get nothing pisses me off more than getting duped.
Yeah,
right?
I understand that.
And I got duped on it. That doesn't mean, COVID was serious and people were dying and stuff, but the sort of using it as an excuse to centralize, consolidate power,
right,
profit from it, excuse making, I got duped, and it still makes me mad to this day.
Does it amaze you that there's still people that would disagree with that?
Well, I think there's a lot of particulars in it, right? So for example, there's some people out there that there's extremes on both sides, right? By definition,
there's trouble.
What's going on, my man?
Oh,
we were just talking about
DFLers.
DFLers.
I think work with.
We're just talking about DFLers' consistent punctuality disorder.
Oh, he's pretending he didn't hear you.
No,
he
he heard me. It's just,
I don't want to say whose fault it is, Tom Bernard, but I didn't get any confirmation that this was happening.
Oh,
I answered you back on social media. Said absolutely. I did answer you back.
That's iffy.
Hey,
all of a sudden, it's my fault.
Hey, Ryan,
here we go.
Ryan, just as a friend here, just some advice. Even if it is his fault, you don't want to blame the host.
I said I didn't know whose fault it was, Tom Bernard.
He showed up on time. How did that ever happen? Pat showed up on time.
Pat can't go anywhere without entering an address into his car.
That is true. That is totally true. He's not.
Difference.
It has turned me. So let me wrap up this COVID. We were talking about COVID, and so to answer your question, there are extremes on both sides, but I am surprised by the denialism on both sides. One that like there's still this faction that thinks like, oh well, COVID wasn't real, and then there's another faction that says like, oh no, all these lockdowns were totally justified. There was no abuse of power. Right. We're going to use the force of law to say you can't go on the beach, you can't go outside. No, and the scary thing for me is just there's a segment of society that always obeys. They just conform and obey.
They do, yeah.
And I think
that was eye-opening.
It was. And for a lot of us is that way. And for like, I think about when my wife and I and our daughter got in the car to drive to Hudson, Wisconsin, so we could go out to dinner. Just like, like the paradigm shift that took place there. But Ryan brought this up, alluded this. I want to tell you, I got a new toy. I bought a new Tesla.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, we were just talking about Tesla.
We're talking about because the taxis are coming.
The cyber cabs are coming in Austin this week?
Next month,
Next month,
yeah. Well, I guess that's the same thing. Next week,
yeah. Very exciting stuff, in
it
my
is.
opinion.
Yeah, I took those a month ago in Austin. They're not the Tesla brand. I don't remember what the other one is. But
Waymo?
Waymo, yeah, they've been going for a long time.
Did you take one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so are you in the driver's seat just in case something happens?
No, you're sitting in the back. There is nobody else in the car except the passengers in the back.
That's going to take some getting used to.
It does a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Elon Musk joke is, you know why they call it Waymo? Because it's way more expensive.
Pretty good.
I'm not sure if his credibility is quite what it used to be.
Well, but
Who's making?
Here we go.
Who's manufacturing the Waymo cars?
So Waymos are like snap-ons to existing vehicles from Google.
But they're all basically like a
So it's
small Jaguar SUV in Austin.
Okay.
So it's nice. What's weird is like the social aspect of it, because you feel like you should like thank the person driving or make some little small talk comment,
No
or
tipping though.
you don't want to talk about private things with that person sitting in the driver's seat, but they're not there.
Yeah.
Are they listening to you? They've got to be listening.
Of
to you.
course they are. How else were they going to populate your phone with ads?
That's right.
Yeah, it's very, very true. I just, I can point out what a moron I am by making this next statement. I bought one of the first 10 Teslas ever made and sold it about 2 years later. You know, if I held on to that car, how much that thing would be
You got
worth?
a Roadster?
Yeah, you sure did.
I was thinking like Back to the Future.
Bloop.
Yeah, it should have been. It should have been.
Surprise
Michael
guest.
Bryan's joining us too. Oh, boy, we got all kinds of politicians on today.
I'll set him up on.
There's
No,
question.
he's in.
Oh, he's
StreamYard.
in. There
Yeah,
he is. Oh,
he's
sorry.
already here.
I wasn't looking.
Hey,
for the
Ryan.
screen. Sorry.
Hi, Mike.
We got Ryan.
And,
Oh, you don't say hi, Pat.
Yeah, I don't. I apologize. I don't recognize the other his side view.
You know what? He looks like a grown up now. That's why. Remember, he didn't used to look like a grown up 10 years ago.
Is that your way of saying that I put on weight?
No,
Oh,
no.
Go right
But
there.
I don't even know how much that Tesla would be worth now. I bought it for $125,000, like
So Roadster. So it's 2005.
2005.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think.
collector for sure.
Oh, definitely. I probably lost about $1 million doing that.
It did not feel sturdy.
Let's see. The first generation was 2008.
Okay.
Used Tesla Roadster, first generation for sale. Let's see here.
Well, regardless of the monetary value, it would be an awesome thing just to have.
Yeah, still
just in
have it,
terms
yeah.
like just from a collector
it
standpoint.
drove
Where,
interest.
where would you keep it?
I just kept it in my garage. And the reason I got rid of it because it did a thing called bricking.
Right.
Mine never did it, but you're driving down the highway and all of a sudden the four wheels would just lock up.
Oh,
So I said,
really?
well, I
Early
can't-
tech.
They're only worth like 80,000 still.
That's it.
So I mean,
I was a
You were the
genius.
smartest guy in the world.
I was the
Yeah.
smartest guy in the
Yeah.
world.
So I
My God.
bought my Model S back in 2014, and to show you how damaged the Republican brand is, like the Star Tribune and the Pioneer Press did stories on it. It was like Republican with electric car. And, no, it's true. It's true. No, seriously, because it was like I had become I was
that's
the
sad.
incoming chair of the Energy Committee. And so the fact
Oh.
that a Republican who chaired energy was driving an electric car was considered newsworthy.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
usually you drive coal-powered cars.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, in
That's
fact,
this is my whole theory. The reason why
did you
Elon got into the race and so heavily with Trump and then did Doge and everything else is to make Teslas the Republican electric car so that it would expand his potential market share beyond what the
That's the deal.
I just know that when I bought my car,
the Democratic intelligentsia.
when I bought my car back in 2014, a bunch of my friends gave me shit. They're like, "Oh, you got an Obama car," huh?" and now,
Obama
2
car.
months ago, I go out and I buy a new Tesla,
Mhm.
and now it's like, "Oh, you got a mega car."
Yeah,
And it's
I
like,
know.
well, no, like
so repulsive.
That's
maybe
exactly
it's just
right.
an awesome car.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is a great car.
Everybody, usually people love them.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, that when I bought my first Tesla, I always said I would never go back to a gasmobile.
Mhm.
And now that I've got this Tesla and it's got full self-driving,
Yeah, right.
I will never buy a car that doesn't drive itself. It
Really?
it is such a game changer, guys.
Really?
Yeah. And so they've got, I'm sorry, I'm turning this into a Tesla info ad. Interrupt me at any point, but
Will be
it's, so it has what's called supervised mode. So there's a camera monitoring me, looking at me.
Making sure
I can't,
you're
I'm not falling asleep or looking at my
Yeah.
phone and stuff.
shooting up.
But in Austin, in Austin, they're going to Texas. They're rolling it out unsupervised mode next
Mhm.
month,
Yep.
and we still have to see where this is going to be nationwide. But right now, it's just a matter of convenience and relaxation. But when unsupervised mode comes out, I mean, you're talking about huge productivity gains on rural interstates. I'd feel comfortable taking a nap. It's that good. And trust me, Tom, you
would. I don't know about everybody else.
No, well, the world is a better place when the Tesla is driving Pat versus Pat driving the Tesla.
That's a possibility too.
Well, for somebody like my father who lost his vision later in life, I mean, he was like, he would have bought one in a second, of course, because he lost his freedom. You know?
So have you used self-driving mode in like the snow and storms and all the other Minnesota awesomeness?
So I've only had it 2 months.
What about slush?
So this is not to like curb off the enthusiasm, but this is a problem they have that I don't know how they're going to address, and that's snow. It's not the vision, but snow accumulates on the cameras and the way, right? And you can't heat it up enough to melt the snow.
Right.
You can't have wipers on them.
Right.
I don't know what they're going to do about it. And it just may be that when it's snowing out, you don't use that feature.
Focus on the Austin, Texas market.
Yeah, exactly.
Start where it doesn't
Mason-Dixon line.
Well, that's what I said. We talked about them being in Austin, and I was like, yeah, because Austin has no weather.
Well, I mean, I used it the first weekend I had it. There was a heavy rainstorm here, and I was driving back from St. Paul, and I used it. It did great.
Isn't there an issue with temperatures also? I thought that the car had the Teslas had issues with real extreme colds.
Why no batteries? All electric vehicle batteries do.
Mine does. My Ford Mustang in below zero weather is horrendous.
Oh, you could just watch the battery just drain. It was 16 below zero. It was like, we could go a block.
I mean,
it's like our phones, right? It gets too cold, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, that is true. All right, I want to explain to everybody how this show came together. And Michael, I'm really glad because Michael texted me earlier, didn't know if he could make it. But Catherine and I spend winters now down in West Palm Beach in Florida.
Be a great place for Tesla Cyber cabs.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
Do it.
Another weather-free area.
Do it now.
But in any case, so we came back a couple of weeks ago. We are always going to spend our summers here because this place in the summer, it's phenomenal. Hasn't begun yet because the weather sucked the first 2 weeks we were here. But
depending on the summer, this might be as good as it gets.
It could be, absolutely. But I just kind of watched local television, which a lot of people don't do anymore. Heard conversations at the grocery store, whatever. And I kind of forgot because in West Palm Beach, nobody even talks about politics. It's like, yeah, you do what you do.
That's true.
Who cares? You don't care about it. Politics is a huge deal in Minnesota, and the hatred is unbelievable. So I want to get together. We got Pat. We got Ryan. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican. You guys have always gotten along. I was impressed with that from day one when you came on the show years ago. Michael Bryant and I are really, really good friends. I don't really have a party anymore. I'm kind of stuck in the middle going, I don't know about either way of moving here. Why is it that Minnesota is so focused on politics?
I think it's the long civic tradition that we've had here. We've had the highest voter turnout forever. We had highest rates of volunteerism and donations to charities. We have all these nonprofits. We have all these people who think that what's happening in the collective whole is important and it's worth fighting for. Right? It's not a very pleasant fight right now. But,
no, it's not. But, holy God.
But everybody cares about the good of the whole, even if they think the other side is an enemy that needs to be destroyed.
I guess.
I have a different opinion.
Here we go.
So what has happened in America is you have increasing polarization, right?
No question.
States like the Republicans have become more extreme on the right. Many segments of the progressive movement have become more extreme on the left. And so states have gone into their corners. There are red states and there are blue states, and there's nothing in between. And in Minnesota, it's still close enough that you have not decided that. Some people want this to be an Illinois, California, Oregon type state.
I thought it was.
Well, not yet. In some respect, not. I mean, it's like
that's what the MAGA side would say.
Right.
But
there's
the attack.
No, I mean,
I'm just saying that's a perspective.
Right.
I mean, but look at the policies that they've been passing. It says
so like the last 2 years you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened in November? Even though Trump lost Minnesota, you have a subset of voters that voted for Harris for president. They voted for Klobuchar for Senate, because Royce White is insane. Right? That's the guy that ran against Amy Klobuchar.
Right.
They voted for their Democrat member of Congress.
Mhm.
And when they got to state representative at the local level, they said, nope. They flipped over and they voted Republican.
Really?
And that was the difference between the Democrats keeping the trifecta and having total control and Minnesota going back to shared government. So there's still this battle. It's still happening. It's not happening in a lot of the states, but in Minnesota, you've had the legislature year after year ping pong back and forth. And so on a statewide basis, yes, DFLers have had a big advantage. When it comes to the legislature, there is still this struggle playing out. And I think it's fair to say that you have elements of the Republican Party in Minnesota that are from rural areas where they get 70% of the vote, and they think Minnesota should be like Texas. Well, it's never going to be that.
No.
Likewise, you have elements of the Democratic Party, the DFL Party, that think that, well, Minnesota should be like a Oregon or a California. And you get outside of the 7-county metro area, that's not what Minnesota is.
No.
So that's what I think the reason why is that there's still this conflict. And then coming back to what we were talking about before on COVID, that nowhere in the nation did you have such a widely divergent COVID policy than the Twin Cities and Western Wisconsin. Everywhere else that had it, there was large amounts of space.
Right.
It was only the Twin Cities where you had what I call lockdowns, and then you could just drive over to Hudson and everything was open. And that was a direct, and that left a mark on a lot of people. That's my opinion, though, Ryan.
Well, I think a lot of what you described is accurate, but I don't think that's why politics is such a big deal in Minnesota. I think it always is.
It's been for a long time.
It always is.
Yeah.
Michael, you came from Rhode Island, let's say, and
Let's say.
Well, I mean, that's where you're from. You were born in Rhode Island, were you not?
Yep. No, I was born in New Mexico, but I spent a lot of time in Rhode Island.
I didn't know you were born in New Mexico. I never knew that. I thought you were born in Rhode Island.
Nope. They were still married when I got born.
Were you born in Albuquerque?
Whoops.
No, I was born in Socorro.
Socorro. Charlie, what's Socorro? We have a guy in Albuquerque who's in the chat all the time.
Oh yeah.
True story about New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
There's the sky there is a different color than it is here.
Really?
It's like a really crystal. Michael, can you back me up? It's like a crystal blue when you're there, and I have no idea why. Was I on shrooms or something? Or is that right?
Only you.
It's a beautiful state. I mean, that state in lots of ways has some of the most beautiful stuff there is. But yeah, the sky is special in New Mexico. There's a lot of special parts of New Mexico.
Apparently, that is a phenomenon. It's the high altitude and dry air, which lets the light scatter more intensely.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
It wasn't the shrooms.
There you go. And Mike can tell you, by the way,
both.
Mike can tell you, by the way, this idea popped in my head last week, because Michael and I have been very good friends for how many years now? It's been a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, nice support. He goes, yeah, I suppose.
No.
But Michael Bryant was on with Liz Collin. Politically, they can't be any further apart, but everyone was nice to one another, and it went along really well. And then you two popped in my head and said, we got to get those guys back here. Can we get back to a situation where people don't want to slit your throat because you don't agree with them? I mean, some people I have noticed since I've been back are way over the top on each side with their politics. It's like, my God, calm down.
Well, at some point, it will go so far that there is a reaction back. And we may even be seeing that. We may be.
I think so.
I hope
this second Trump term may be the time where people are like, all right, what comes next, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's not going to be another person like him. There's not, there's policy-wise or whatever, maybe the similar, but there won't be another personality like that. And then where do we go? Because I think I think it's pretty clear the last 10 years have been kind of the destruction of the political parties as we knew them for the last 30 to 40 years. And they don't really mean what they used to mean. In some ways, Pat and I would agree, they don't really mean much of anything.
Yeah.
And so I think there is going to be, I think we're living through the 70s again, where it's just this kind of miserable, crappy time where everything is falling apart that everybody used to think was real and true. And out of it, something new is going to be born. And that's, I think that's where we're heading.
New and better.
Yeah.
New and different.
Oh, damn it. I tried to get
No, it'll be better in some ways. I mean, were the 80s better than the 70s in some ways, and the 90s? Yes. Were they worse for workers? Yeah, a lot worse for workers.
Yeah. Yeah,
what do you mean? The 80s were worse for the workers. What do you mean?
The 70s is when worker wages stopped rising with productivity. The financialization of the economy started to move away from the average working person being able to see their boat rise with the tide of the economy. That corrected itself a little bit in the 90s, but that's basically been the story of the last 40 years. People are not enjoying the benefits. And you can talk about median wages, you can talk about all those things, but I think we all know that almost all of the money is going to the top. And it's, the bottom 60% of Americans have 1% of the wealth. God. So if you make less than $100,000 a year, you're very unlikely to ever own a home. You're unlikely to be able to send your kids to any kind of higher education. If you're on take a vacation, it's going to be debt financed. It's just a very bleak kind of world for a large part of the population. And I think that's driving all of this unrest.
I think that there's going to be a lot more things to take into consideration in the future with AI. A universal basic income might have to be a reality for people because there's just not going to be jobs.
There's not going to be enough jobs to go around.
See, as someone who worked in technology for 25 years, as a technologist, I don't see it that way. I see that just like electricity got rid of the candlestick maker. It's the same thing with AI. You're going to be creating new jobs and new opportunities. Now, I can't tell you what that is because I don't have a crystal ball, but yeah, it's true that you're going to have, for example, we're talking about Tesla and the autonomous, driving. Yeah, that's going to reduce long haul truckers and that's going to reduce transportation jobs, but it'll create new opportunities, both on the technology side and on the infrastructure side. So it's just a matter of what we're doing smart. But
or maybe we're not working as many hours because we're working remotely, and the fact is we don't have to be productive 40 hours a week.
Well, the other question is, when people aren't productive, what happens? When people don't have a purpose, what happens?
That social decay is what happens.
Yes,
exactly.
it is. Yes. So amazing. On the way here, Kath and I had a discussion about making $100,000 a year now means nothing. I mean, basically, when I was a kid, if somebody made $100,000 a year, it's like, oh my God.
So, it's funny because my wife and I were just talking about this housing. You think about what the housing budget.
It's disgusting how much a house is.
Right.
It's disgusting.
But and I can go on a diatribe about how, government policies are driving costs up, and that's true. But also look at the expectations of the American consumer, right? Yeah. They don't build Ramblers anymore with 2-car garages. They don't like
St. Louis Park in the 1950s is not what people are looking for.
They don't even build those anymore.
But those houses are worth a lot of money.
But exactly, if we were going to be rebuilding, if a catastrophe happened and the city was leveled and we were rebuilding, we would not rebuild the way we did in the 1950s.
Right. No, we should.
You're absolutely right.
Well, look at
it would be much denser. It would be much closer together. The kind of the core city would the urban feel would be much larger, and we would leave more green space.
1920 through 1950, the average new home was about 1,000 square feet, give or take 100 square feet.
Okay.
By 2000, the average new home was 2,200 square feet. By 2014, 2,600 square feet. So you can barely even find a new home under 2,500 square feet anymore, and it's like, that was never affordable to the average person. People weren't buying 2,500 square foot houses in 1950, no matter how much money they made.
So one of the things I talked to some people a while ago in the housing industry to ask them about this, to go, okay, now Minnesota's population, it's not really growing that much. No. It's pretty close to flat. Now you do have some shifting of, and I'm just like, so why are housing costs going up so much in the Twin Cities? And yes, there are government regulations, there's consumer preferences. But I didn't think about this until they mentioned it. It's that you have more families that don't live in one home anymore.
Yep,
you have more, like the composition of families has created this requirement for additional housing, and there hasn't been a corresponding amount of construction with it to build it. And it's NIMBYism. And this is not political left or political right. You've heard of NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard.
Right.
Well, now Minnesota's evolved to banana, which is build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything.
But I mean, what you're seeing right now, for example, in Minneapolis and St. Paul, there's a lot of people on the left who are calling themselves YIMBYs, which is yes in my backyard.
Yeah.
Like we need to build more, a denser urban fabric in order to accommodate people.
It's actually a success story that Minneapolis has had in direct contrast to St. Paul, where Minneapolis has had parking and zoning reforms to build more housing. And in St. Paul, they enacted rent control, which is like, if you came to me and said, Pat, I want you to destroy a city as quickly as possible.
Have you been downtown St. Paul lately?
It's awful.
It's terrible.
I haven't in a long time.
Very
Worst
eye-opening.
in the country. I've traveled to many
Sad.
cities over the last year, and
Really?
it's the worst urban core I have seen.
They don't
Wow.
have a department store anymore.
No grocery
It's
store.
too
Right?
No
bad.
grocery store. It's just you drive around over by the historical museum there, history museum.
Mhm.
It's just nothing but people doing drugs and
Mhm.
just
and that's
it's awful.
And then the rest of it is just kind of sterile old 1980s
Yeah.
office towers that are not being used for any.
Nobody's in it anywhere.
And it's all,
Yeah,
and very rarely can you say that there's one reason that causes a problem. There is a very clear reason why this is happening. This is what happens when you have poor executive leadership.
Yeah.
There is few things more expensive than poor leadership. And that is in St. Paul with the rent control,
Mhm.
it immediately provided defunding.
That
for
wasn't
whole-
executive leadership. That was done through a voter
No.
referendum.
Yes, that was supported by that's what tipped it over the
Yeah,
line.
but it wouldn't have mattered what the mayor had said about that.
Well-
he was very resistant.
Well, somebody's got to
frankly.
put it on the ballot, right?
Yeah, well, the groups that make money off this and special projects,
Right.
did it, and
It's
it's
a combination of factors, right? The fallout from George Floyd and the pullback of policing and all of that was worse, obviously, in Minneapolis and St. Paul than it was anywhere else in the country. That led to a longer safety crisis. I think the rent control policies on top of that were not good. It is also true that Minneapolis, St. Paul has the highest concentration of work from home workers in the country. And so we're having more people not coming into downtown compared to other
Mhm.
places. And I think we were overly invested in downtowns just basically being a destination work zone for,
Yeah.
we never really had a downtown neighborhood to speak of before COVID. It was coming, but it wasn't really
Yeah.
there.
I feel like downtown St. Paul has been dying for quite some time, to tell you the truth, because I remember our daughter was married 10, 11 years ago, and she had her wedding reception in downtown St. Paul. And I remember talking to people that had come in for the wedding, and they said, "Yeah, we tried to take the light rail, and it's very
Oh,
dangerous.
I
It was
used to
very
take it.
scary."
I used to
This
take
is
it all the time.
So this is pre-COVID.
Yeah.
This has been happening for a long time.
Well, I
Yeah.
moved out of Minneapolis in 2018. And around that time, that's when I was like, I don't know if I want to take the light rail anymore. I used to take it. I would take it 2-3 times to the airport or whatever
Yeah.
every year. And no, not anymore.
Remember Mike Molina?
Oh, God,
he was
yeah.
on. He was on the show for a very long time. Very, very large guy, and he
Mhm.
was like, "Oh my God!" Every day he took the light rail. Every day he said,
Mhm.
"Every day somebody's punching somebody. There's blood flying.
God.
There's somebody doing drugs."
Yep.
One day he was. I don't remember what line he was taking, but he said they were taking the chairs out of the train and pounding each other. And that's what 15 years ago. So this is all.
No,
That was like,
yeah.
no,
This is the beginning of the show.
15 years.
14 years ago.
Well, it wasn't the beginning of the show.
Sure.
This was probably 8 or 9 years ago.
All right. Well,
so here's the
what
good
I'm
news,
saying.
though.
But
So-
it's been a while.
But
Yeah.
here's the good news, though, is that again with this autonomous driving thing,
Mhm.
this is a game changer that's going to change how people
Yeah.
move. So
Yep.
think about how fixed rail transit has worked in the past, where it said they tell you where you have to be, when you have to be, and where you're going to go.
Right.
And now with the autonomous vehicles, you get to pick where you are, where you're going to use, and where you need to go to. So Uber is already doing this, where they go on a transit corridor and they just say, "Hey, if you're willing to share a van with somebody, just use our app, and a car will pick you up and take you to where you're going." And you don't have to wait for all the heavy costs that go with it. And it's safer. It's more freedom. So this is another example of technology making things better. Now, I don't know what we're going to do with the trains we built that we spent billions of dollars on,
Right.
but we're probably going to continue decommissioning them. But it's actually it's another example of
Well-
technology making things better.
Well, that was a big push. It was to get rid of highways. Don't have roads.
Right.
Don't have
Yeah.
road expenses. Everybody was going to take, public transportation. There wasn't going to be any more cars because of climate change. Well, now that you've got electric cars, which still contribute to climate change, I guess, if you believe that climate change is a huge factor,
Yeah.
it's none of it makes any sense because people want to be able to go where they want to go when they want to go, and they don't want people who are shooting up next to him on the subway or
That's a
the train.
reasonable
They just
request.
don't.
Yeah, really. I got to tell my.
I don't know
story.
about that. I think there's no great city in the world that's based on cars. There just isn't.
No, that's true. Very quickly, I got to tell my Molina story. We'll take our last break in the show and come back and wrap things up. I will never, every time, Mike Molina, I was kind of like his father because he lost his father all these years ago. And I met him when he was like 15. So I was kind of like his
He worked
dad.
at KQ back
He worked
in the
at
day.
KQRS back in the day, yeah. So we're out in Las Vegas doing the KQ morning show. And I had just been introduced by somebody to Coca-Cola of Mexico. It's
With the real cane sugar.
the real cane sugar, right? So this is at like what Minnesota time. The show starts at 6, so this is like 4:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
or 4:30. I said, Molina, would you do me a favor? I saw there was one store on the strip that's open. Would you go and see if they have Mexican Coke? He came back. He was sweating, huffing and puffing. He walked into the store and said, do you have Mexican Coke? And they took him back. He said there was
the
a
back
mountain
room.
of cocaine.
To the back room.
In the back room. A mountain of cocaine. He was terrified he was going to prison.
Or that somebody was following him.
Or somebody was following him.
It's like he's like, oh wait, oh no, I don't know, not that kind of Coke.
He's like 6'4", shoulders this wide, just big, muscular guy. He's like, I gotta get out of here. Mexican Coke in the back. Mike, you were gonna make a point a couple seconds ago.
Oh, it's long past. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, whatever.
The moment has passed.
The moment has passed. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, I just well, why don't we take a break and come back and wrap things up after that? It's a good way to do it.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back. I'm talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, business owners have had to deal with a lot over the last few years, haven't they?
They sure have, Tommy. We pride ourselves on being able to help our customers with the challenges they face.
Our business bankers are experts and are always ready to help our customers capitalize on opportunities and solve problems.
Loan decisions come quickly because they're made here in the Twin Cities and not shipped out of state like at some of the national banks in town.
This allows our customers to expand their businesses with confidence, knowing that they have our team of experts in their corner.
Okay, so now you give me this big thing at the end. Way to go.
Well, you are the professional.
Oh, I forgot. Look, I know Brad and Mike, and I trust them with my banking. They've personally delivered on everything they've just said, so why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. Yeah, baby. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get back just in time to watch Michael Bryant yawn. That was really nice, Michael. So, Michael, what's up? What's going on in your world?
Not much. Just was in court and just checking in like I do on Thursdays and, just watching what's going on in the world and listening to these two fine gentlemen.
These two fine gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom. I like that. Two fine gentlemen. That was it.
There's a name for a podcast.
The two fine gentlemen.
Fine gentlemen.
You can probably get that done. No question about it. All right. To kind of wrap things up, I want to say again the reason that this show happened, because coming back from Florida to here, you wouldn't believe how politics hit you in the face the second you land in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's immediate.
It is.
And, I'm pretty centrist these days. I've been a Democrat for years and years, and I was a Republican for years and years, and now I'm kind of stuck in the middle because I don't want it to seem it's too extreme for me on both sides. I mean, there's a great Democratic Party and a great Republican Party, but some people just take it to the nth degree. It's like, my God, would you settle down, relax? So I'm really glad, Michael, that you got on the show today too, because it just to have three people on the show who've been around this for most of their lives. I mean, are people ever going to settle down unless they get 100% their way? Will they ever settle down?
I'd like to think so.
So would I.
But I mean, it's half joke, but it's totally true, is that there are record numbers of crazy people in politics right now.
I'm so glad somebody else has noticed that, because I've been like, what is wrong with these people?
Well, yeah, because the party loyalty starts by denying reality, right? You can't, if you accept facts as being a fact, then you can't be truly on board enough. You're not enough of a true believer to be part of the group.
We just need until one of the political parties calms down. We need divided government everywhere, state, federal level. You cannot have one party in total control.
No,
it doesn't mean you're going to get more of what you want, but it does mean you're going to get sanity and adulthood. And that's like we just need adulthood at all levels of government right now.
And this is for everybody. It just appears to me, and maybe it's just I'm misreading things. It's all about money.
Yes.
Everything is about money now.
Yes.
Has it always been that way? I don't think so.
What do you think, Ryan? Like, when we first started, I did not get this impression.
No.
But I think that one of the things that's happened in Minnesota is you have had a business model developed around those revenue streams.
Are you talking about the grifters on the edges of the political parties, or are you talking about? I mean, they are, right?
No, it's true.
It's easy to make money. Nobody's really watching, and you can turn campaigns into your personal bank account pretty easily.
Right, and it's on the left and the right. It is
absolutely.
Like you monetize people. You monetize people's anger. It doesn't matter if it's true or not.
It's a disadvantage if it's true.
Yeah, just make shit up, right? Stop. Sorry.
It's okay.
You can say shit on the show. It's a podcast. Not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I read recently that a majority of people who are Democratic-based voters see themselves as progressive first and Democrats second.
Yes, that's right.
And MAGA voters are MAGA first and Republican second, which tells you that the political parties are actually, to me, very, very weak. They don't really have the strength that they once had. It's basically a series of relationships between individual candidates and whatever group of people they can get fired up for a particular campaign or a particular election cycle. And there's no sustained long-term commitment to a particular political party. I mean, they switch positions on issues from one election to another.
Look at Russia.
Look at tariffs.
Yeah, that's right.
What's a guy like me?
Going back, look at Tesla.
Look at Tesla.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, watching people go through the emotions that they have because they own a Tesla that they used to be really proud of a year ago, or about a year ago. It's crazy how that has switched based upon a lot of different factors, but it's clearly it's odd the way those kind of things switch.
Yeah, tribalism.
But I got to point out, if I was still driving my Tesla, I would have had no idea Elon Musk even existed, but I'm still guilty because I drive a Tesla. I mean, that's ridiculous.
No, it's just dumb. It's
just
dumb.
really
To Ryan's
stupid.
point, though, maybe there is like some sort of multi-level genius going on here where it's like he needs to grow. Like the progressives or more progressives had tended to buy electric cars. He needed to open up market share for Republicans.
So ultimately, I think we were defeating global warming by having Elon Musk attack the government.
All right.
You guys got to come back more. Honest to God, I miss having you guys on the show because you used to come in a lot when you were both shoulder to the wheel in politics. But I'd love having you guys in because two people could sit right next to one another, and a Michael Bryant on screen as well, and not get psychotically angry at one another. I see some political. I'm just going to discussion. I'll call it a discussion. It's just hatred for one another. Why? It's politics. Calm down.
Don't you think that those are people that just don't really have any policies? All they are doing is attacking.
Yeah,
Or their ideas are just weak.
Well, what positive things are either party proposing?
Yeah,
other than an opposition,
other
right?
than I hate you.
Right? We're going to undo DEI. We're going to get rid of this bad trade situation. We're against Joe Biden, what he did to the economy. It's all negative, right? What is the positive vision that is being sold on the right? And when with Trump in office, Democrats are basically saying, don't cut taxes for the rich and don't cut Medicaid. They're not saying, how are we going to address the fact that we spend as much on our debt service as we spend on defense, and more than that we spend on healthcare and Social Security, right? And that everything else falls into a little tiny bucket next to those big things, and nobody really wants to address the real challenges and how you invest and make a better future for the whole country. Nobody's got a vision for that because there are no adults talking about serious issues.
And the thing for Minnesota, the reason why it's damaging, if you look at the history of Minnesota, right? We're a cold weather state. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're not an energy producing state. We historically were pretty successful. And why was that? And the number one reason why is that we just cooperated and worked together better than other places. That was our strategic advantage. And you think about any family, any team, any neighborhood, when people are rowing the boat in the same direction, you're going to have more success. And in Minnesota, what's happened is that breakdown where things have become more polarized, we're cooperating less and we're fighting more. It's doing more damage here than it's happening everywhere, but it's doing more damage here because that is what historically has been our competitive advantage.
Well, it is interesting. Minnesota, I think the fastest growing sectors are government and healthcare.
Yeah.
I mean, and healthcare a lot of people feel like healthcare is a huge scam and a big ripoff, and
they do
they're donating to the right parties to stay in existence. And nothing's happening to these people that are raising premiums like crazy. All of these deductibles, they're not paying anybody's costs. I mean, you've got people on social media talking about how they have to have a lung transplant, not the guy that we had on yesterday, but they're like, and they're hemming and hawing about what kind of medication that they have to have. One woman's on a feeding tube. She can't get the stuff that goes into the feeding tube because her insurance company is so horrible about, I mean, all of this, it has to be like raised. I mean, we have to start new.
When that, were you guys surprised by the sympathy for this guy who murdered the healthcare executive?
Yeah,
were you guys?
What was that all
about? On one hand,
I
mean, it's horrifying that happened. But on the other hand, I can sort of understand why people have this feeling, so hard feelings against healthcare.
I have to tell you, like when that happened, like I didn't feel any sympathy for this murderer. This guy, he murdered a man in cold blood.
Somebody.
Yeah. And I remember there was this scene I was watching The Daily Show where Jon Stewart made a comment about the guy, and the crowd gave some sort of sympathetic response, and you could see.
But if you look at surveys going into the 24 election, 53%, or I think it was actually higher, 58% of voters were saying that what we need is a shock to the system and start over. To Catherine's point, that 60%.
But I mean, murder probably wasn't what people were hoping for.
Of course not. But in an environment where people are saying, I can't afford healthcare, I'm never going to be able to buy a house. There's no way I can afford higher education.
Right.
Jobs don't pay very well. There's crime in the cities. Like, what do people have what's the skin in the game for the average person in this current system? Not much.
Right. You're not sympathizing. You're just saying, you're describing what these people are.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't support assassinations in the street. Of course not. What I'm saying is it's a mix of this sort of anti-establishment frustration and a belief that nobody in positions of power, whether it's business or government, are actually there to help improve people's lives.
Yeah.
This is what popped into my head when I got back. And I've told this story about 10 times now because it came flooding back after 65 years. It's true. I was maybe 8 years old, going to St. Joseph's School in North Minneapolis. Not even there anymore. The church isn't there. The school's not there. But I was going to St. Joe's, and I had a friend. No reason to bring up their name. Nice Italian family. And so I went over to pick up my buddy. To knock on the door, and his grandfather answers. And he said, "May I help you?" And I said, "I'm here to see blah, blah, blah." He goes, "Oh, yeah? Yeah, is that right? So where you go to school?" I said, "I go to St. Joseph's right down the block here." He goes, "Oh, yeah? You Catholic, huh?" And I said, "Yes, I am Catholic." He goes, "Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Must be Italian, huh? And he said, no. And he shut the door. In my face. He shut the door. I'm 7, 8 years old. And he said, no, unless you're Italian, you ain't getting in here. And that's how it kind of seems now. Unless you agree with everything that I do, I don't want you near me. Like, good God, haven't we learned anything? Right?
Yeah, it's in social.
I don't think anybody feels like it's going well.
No, I don't either.
Here's the thing. Like, I must, once again, I am out of the mainstream. This is the happiest I've been in my entire life, and I don't mean
it's because you're not in the legislature anymore.
Yes,
that's exactly right.
Might have something to do with it. That probably. I think that's a very good observation.
I can relate.
Michael, next time you got to come in the studio and get involved physically. That'd be wonderful.
Physically.
Well, they're talking, and yeah.
It's all working, but if you guys can make it back, I would love to have you guys in a lot, because they hear two people who came from two different places agreeing on a lot. You actually can agree with someone who's not from where you're from, whether it's Democrats, Republicans, whatever. I can't believe how far this has gone. The hatred that's behind this now is
not sustainable.
No, there's no way. That's what scares me about the whole thing.
Things that can't continue don't. At some point, it will stop.
Yeah,
it'll
stop.
move back.
But you made a good point. A lot of people are happy that it's so horrible. It's like, God. All right, is that it, honey?
That's it.
Good seeing you guys.
Great to see you. Come back
Thanks
soon.
Take care. Good to see you guys.
Believe me.
Sounds good.
Michael, thank you, sir.
Take care.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Reminds me of this was before.